Hey guys, I'm just going to pop on and talk to you about your changing criterion design. So I'm referring to experimental designs, and like I always say, in order to really get familiar with experimental designs, you need to break them down one by one and become familiar with each experimental design. So today I'm going to talk to you about a changing criterion design. There's some important things to note. There is only one behavior when you're using a changing criterion design, and that behavior must be in the client's repertoire. So with your initial baseline phase, this is followed by a series of treatment phases consisting of successive and gradually changing criteria for reinforcement or punishment. So keep that in mind. You can use changing criterion for reinforcement or punishment. Treatment is applied in a gradual or stepwise manner. Experimental controls is displayed to the extent that the level of responding changes to get to conform to each new criterion. The greater the vertical distance between criterion lines, the more experimental control. So also keep in mind this is technically a variation of your multiple baseline design. There are three parts to a changing criterion design: length of phases, magnitude of criterion changes, and number of criterion changes. Your length of phases must be long enough to achieve stable responding. Targets that are slower to change may create longer phases, and validity is increased when you vary the length of phases. So magnitude of criterion changes. The size changes between each criterion, and this should vary to show strong functional relations. Changes in size must be large enough to be detectable, but not so large as that they're unachievable. Changes in size can be smaller if you're dealing with stable data. Now, the number of criterion changes, the more, the better proof of experimental control. Now, there are some advantages and disadvantages of a changing criterion design. Advantages: it does not require a reversal of the improved behavior. So again, that's an advantage. Many people confuse that and think it's a disadvantage. It's an advantage that it does not require a reversal. Another advantage is it enables an experimental analysis within the context of gradually improving behavior. Now, disadvantages: the target behavior must already be in the client's repertoire. It is not appropriate for using novel behaviors. Therefore, a common misconception is that you use a changing criterion design for shaping. You, in fact, do not use a changing criterion design for a shaping program. And that's because with shaping, we're using novel behaviors. With changing criterion, we're using behaviors that are already in the client's repertoire. And that would be one behavior. Lastly, it is not a comparison design. If you want to read more about changing criterion design, please see Cooper, page 223.